All right, let's dive into something we literally do all day, every day. But how often do we really stop and think about it? I'm talking about conversation. We're going to explore that subtle art of finding the perfect rhythm, that delicate dance of knowing when to speak up and, just as importantly, when to listen.
Okay, first up, I want to give you a fantastic and very specific word to add to your vocabulary: bloviate. So, what does it mean? It's when someone speaks or writes with this air of arrogance, using way more words than are necessary. We've all been on the receiving end of this, right? It's basically a monologue that absolutely no one signed up for.
And this quote, it's the perfect antidote to bloviating, isn't it? It just cuts right to the heart of the matter. A tiny, sincere moment of connection, a little whisper of honesty, has so much more power than some long winded, noisy speech that's full of hot air. It's a great reminder that clarity and just being real, that's what truly matters, not the volume. Which brings us right to the main event, the core challenge that every single one of us faces pretty much every time we talk to someone. Let's call it the great balancing act. It's this constant tug of war between our desire to express ourselves and, well, being respectful of the other person's time. So let's just put the main question right out there, because this is something we all deal with whether we realize it or not. How do we share what's on our mind, tell our stories, and get our point across without just completely taking over the conversation and making the other person's eyes glaze over? It's a really tough balance to get right. So, here's a great way to think about it. Picture every conversation like a seesaw. On one end, you've got the speech bubble. That's all your self expression, everything you're dying to say. And on the other end, you've got a clock. That clock represents this finite shared resource, time. A really good conversation, that seesaw is in a nice, gentle rhythm, moving up and down naturally. A bad one? Oh, yeah, one side is slammed into the ground. Now let's take this idea and apply it to a super specific and often kind of awkward real world situation. The moment you find yourself with a captive audience. Oh, you absolutely know this feeling. You're at a wedding waiting for it to start, or you're in a doctor's waiting room, or at a conference before the main speaker comes on. You're just there, next to someone you barely know. And that little pocket of time, it can be a golden opportunity for a real connection, or it can feel like a social trap you just can't escape from. And this slide just perfectly lays out the two polar opposite ways this can go. On one side, you've got the magic. You just click, time seems to melt away, and the conversation flows without any effort at all. But on the other side, you get the misery. Ugh, you're stuck in this painful small talk loop, and the worst part is you can both feel how forced and awkward it is. It's almost comical if you're watching from the outside. So, what's the secret ingredient? What separates the magic from the misery? Well, it all boils down to one essential thing: chemistry. That incredible, almost electric feeling when a conversation just clicks, you know? It's that rare spark that happens when you've got a little shared context and a lot of mutual curiosity. Let's break down what it looks like when that chemistry is totally missing. It's this painfully familiar three-step dance. So, step one, you try to get something going. You toss out a question, you offer up a topic. Step two, it just fizzles, goes nowhere. No follow-up, zero energy back. And finally, step three, you both just give up and retreat to safety. Well, enjoy the show. The end. And this is a really important piece of advice. Sometimes it's genuinely hard to read the room. Are they just shy? Are they having a bad day? The key insight here is if you've tried a couple of times and you're just not feeling that chemistry, the best thing you can possibly do is not force it. Simple, polite, basic pleasantries, that is a perfectly fine place to land. But on the flip side, when the chemistry is there, oh man, you don't have to guess. It's totally obvious. You can literally feel the other person's excitement. The conversation just flows because you're both actually building on each other's ideas. You're not just waiting for your turn to talk. And honestly, it can feel like a little miracle. I absolutely love this quote because it really captures that miraculous feeling. You might be in one of those amazing conversations and think to yourself, wow, this is unbelievable. How is this even happening? And the answer is right here. Nope, that's just chemistry working. It's magic. It's not a random accident. It's a real, observable force. Okay, so let's bring it all home. What's the one big idea we should all take away from this whole thing? How can we start finding that conversational flow a little more often in our own lives? And this right here is the absolute key. The goal isn't to go out and memorize a bunch of tips and tricks or to find some secret formula for the perfect conversation. No, The real skill is learning to tune in, to just sense the energy of an interaction, to recognize whether that natural chemistry is there or not, and then adjust instead of trying to force a connection that just isn't happening. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Take a second and really ask yourself, when was the last time a conversation felt like pure magic to you? Who was it with? What did that feel like? Because just recognizing that feeling, remembering it, that's the first step to creating more of it.